Everyone. Sorry, that was a little early click, but I think we're now ready to start. Hopefully everyone's in. So welcome to our Holohub public demo and Q&A webinar. I hope you enjoyed our little mascot Digit dancing. For those of you who didn't know, we're based in Scotland. That's why we have the kilt. It's not just a coincidence. Thank you so much to everyone for taking the time to be here with us today. We are so very much excited to be able to finally tell the world about our XR platform, Holohub. So without further ado, my name is Lina Srebrova, and I am the XR strategist here at Digitalnauts. And I will be one of your co-hosts today, together with my colleague, Mark Baxter. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Baxter. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Digitalnauts. Not only that, but I'm actually responsible for the product development of Holohub and managing the platform development side over here as well. So really glad to have you all here today. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you, Mark. So as I mentioned, the word XR, I saw we have quite a mixed audience attending today. So I just wanted to clarify that when we say XR, what we mean is extended reality, and that's the umbrella term for virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. So my role as an XR strategist means that I usually work closely with our clients to make sure that whatever solution we develop for them, it is first of all successful, it's strategic, so it fits with their overall business objectives, and most importantly, it's sustainable. So I just couldn't not ask. You can probably just answer in the little comments, but do we look like our little avatars? Because I think this little picture is an absolute proof that anything is possible in XR. I can say that in real life, Mark absolutely hates green. That's why we put him a little green shirt, but you can see in real life, he's more like a blue type of person. So going further, we are going to show you a little bit around what are we going to cover today. So we'll start by introducing ourselves and the company, what is Holohub and why we created it. Then Mark will run through the Holohub demo together with you and tell you what the future holds for Holohub. And then we're going to finish with some Q&A. So to begin with, who are we? So we're Digitalnauts. We are a full service XR technologies provider. The company was founded in 2016, and we started off by developing virtual reality training. But for the past 6 years, we've been creating all types of XR experiences for business, from well-being and soft skills training, all the way to remote collaboration and productivity apps. I know our commercial director is going to pick up on me for that later, but VR training has always been our bread and butter. So that's how we started. Something we recognized very early on when we started working with large multinational companies was that there was always a lot of unknowns around the adoption, around XR adoption. So in many companies, there's usually a lack of knowledge and a bit of understanding on what it really is, how to use it, and most importantly, how to scale and make basically the most out of it. So in order to help our customers along their XR journey, we developed our own structured end-to-end approach that we call the Digitology. So Digitology is our framework for sustainably implementing XR at scale. It all starts off with basically our consultancy services. This could mean anything from holding educational workshops to basically making sure that our clients have the right knowledge in place, but also making sure that we also understand their own needs and their business objectives in order to build a successful XR strategy. So our internal team of designers and developers also builds all types of content. As I mentioned, AR, VR, MR. We build content for headsets, browsers, tablets, phones, basically cover the whole lot. We also have a number of hardware providers that we partner with in order to provide basically the full service, procurement and maintenance. And we also have dedicated success managers that allow us to guide and support customers on their way to adopting XR. So as you can see in the center of all this, I can probably point with my little cursor. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the center and the core of our digitology is Holohub. So Holohub is our pioneering platform, which allows businesses to unlock the full potential of their XR applications. So what really are the problems that we are solving here, and why did we create Holohub in the first place? So we mainly, to be honest, built Holohub because of the challenges that our clients were experiencing, but also because of the issues we were personally facing as developers. So let me just highlight the top 3 challenges that currently exist in adopting and scaling XR across businesses. So the majority of existing solutions are not open, unfortunately. So they're all behind what we call walled gardens, and most large platforms are pretty much functioning as controlled ecosystems that are imposing quite a lot of limitations and restrictions and end up pretty much locking businesses and developers inside their platforms. So from a business perspective, you need to go through all these hoops, signups, verifications in order to be able to access your content. For developers, it's quite hard to upload your content on platforms such as, for example, Steam, because obviously that's more of a B2C platform. It's not designed for enterprise use. Similarly, with the Oculus Store, if any of you have any experience with that, there's quite a lot of restrictions around what you can upload, and you need to cover all these very high requirements. So just to add to that mix, the ecosystem is currently incredibly fragmented. And pretty much what that means is that companies need to implement a whole bunch of different solutions that don't work together. So they end up managing 5 different systems. And who really wants that? Doesn't sound ideal. In terms of the next challenge, it's around limited security and privacy. I bet most of you are familiar, as I mentioned before, Oculus or the Oculus Quest 1, 2. But how many of you or your clients will be willing to use Facebook profiles to log in for work? I'll just leave this there. I feel like that pretty much sums up the current state of data privacy in XR, unfortunately. But the biggest challenge that we've discovered is the zero-click question that you can see at the end. It's one of those, how do you manage this metaverse thing? Yes, because unfortunately, another big problem, if not the biggest, is the lack of XR knowledge that I touched upon, that we've been basically trying to fight with ourselves. So because when we talk to corporates or big companies, they are not aware of any of the issues that I mentioned previously. People talk about the metaverse, but they don't know really how to properly apply anything extended reality. So as a result of these challenges, we recognized that we needed to build a holistic business solution, a democratized ecosystem. So we created Holohub. Holohub is a truly open platform. It's a centralized location for distributing and managing all types of XR content, be it users, hardware, XR, everything at scale. It removes the barriers to XR adoptions and gives control back in the hands of businesses and developers to make sure that they can make the most out of their XR content. So we wanted to make sure that we can make access to XR quick, easy, and sustainable. And we've been working on Holohub for a very long time, for the past 4 years. Initially, it basically just started as an idea. Then we started using it internally with different clients across various industries. But for the past 12 months, we've basically been using Holohub as a beta. So one good example of Holohub use case was a pilot phase for one of the biggest, if not the biggest, immersive UK-wide construction projects. And this project is currently used daily and has, I think, a total of more than 1,600 users only for this year. Unfortunately, because of COVID, it couldn't be used previously. So what exactly does Holohub do? So Holohub helps you distribute content quick and easy on a global scale and across all your organizational locations. Plus that, it also allows you to easily manage, as I mentioned, your users, your content, but also your hardware devices. Mark is going to go into a lot more detail on all these little points, but using Holohub, you can also track literally anything. We know that in XR in general, that's one of the brilliant additions that you can basically track all points of data, and Holohub allows you to capture those analytics and make sure you can make good use of this data and generate reports. But it also allows you to integrate with all your familiar tools and business systems. So that could be your learning management system, your learning record store, your CRM, calendar, as well as some customer integrations, because it's quite early days. We're very open to basically integrating stuff that are important for customers. So what makes Holohub different? Or shall I say, what makes it truly open? In my opinion, what makes it different is that it is built with our own company values in mind. So our team is all about making XR accessible to all businesses, regardless of their location, their size, or their industry. And these are also our ambitions for Holohub. It is built with business and enterprise needs in mind, and the key principles behind it are interoperability, openness, and ease of access. As you can see, these are a couple of points that are basically summarizing stuff. I'm not going to go into the details of them. So one thing that we have decided that we want to keep as part of basically our company values is to ensure that our core features in the platform, as I mentioned, the distribution and the management, will remain free forever for anyone. Obviously, there will be some small limitations in terms of how many users and people we can have, but this is something that we have already decided on. So yes. Now I would like to move to the second part of our webinar, which is the demo. So I'm going to follow with a little video that Mark recorded for the ease of presenting. Mark, would you like to jump in, or would you like me to continue?
You're doing a great job, Lena. Thank you very much. I'm not happy for you just to go ahead and show the video now. So just to note, point to add, this video was literally recorded about an hour ago. So you won't see much difference from me now. The reason for that was because we wanted to make sure that there was no issues with casting the headset and things like that. So the next 15 minutes, you'll be getting taken through the demo by me in the past 1 hour ago. So enjoy. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me on a Holohub demo. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to take you through a whistle-stop tour of all the Holohub features, how it works, how you add users to your platform, how you upload content to your platform so that those users can access it, and then I'm going to show you it from within the headset, which one that I've got here, to show you what the user experience is like of actually accessing your content. Now, to get started, you just go to holohub.app and hit the login button in the top corner. After that, you'll get taken to this login page. Now, if you've not got an account and you want to sign up, there's a little sign up button at the bottom here. You can click this and it will take you through the sign up flow, and it will give you a tour of the platform as well. But we have an account set up here ready for a demo account. So I'm just going to log into that here and show you that today. Now, every user in Holohub can be a member of multiple hubs if they want. If people invite you to their hubs, then you'll have multiple hubs like I do here, but we're only caring about the demo hub for today. Now, when you log into Holohub, the first thing you get presented with is a list of applications that you have available to you. Now, the core of Holohub is about distribution of content and management of your XR assets. And by XR assets, what we really mean is we're talking about your applications over here, your users, and your devices. Now, when a user logs in and they're not an admin, obviously they won't be able to see these admin functions on the left. They only get to see the stuff at the bottom here. Now, in Holohub, we've got 3 different channels that we distribute to. So we can distribute to WebXR, which is the most probably got the most reach because it's delivered through the web browser. Most modern browsers now will support WebXR. This includes on your mobile phone, so if you're looking at it on a mobile phone, then the experience is much more like a gyroscopic experience. If you look at it on a desktop, let me just show you an example of a desktop one just now. Click here and I'll launch it on the desktop, then it's much more like a Google Maps experience. and you can interact and click with it. Or this could be a completely interactive 3D VR experience as well. It doesn't matter, it's just being delivered through WebXR, but typically these are really good for companies who've got authoring tools, that use authoring tools and want to just quickly push out some content. This can also be obviously accessed through the headset browser as well. The other two types of content that we support are desktop VR content. Now, desktop VR content is typically your more higher end stuff. It's a lot more higher quality. So if we look at this mooring simulator, for example, you can see it's much more graphically intensive, so it requires a higher end PC to run it. So this has to be run on a desktop. I will show you how we do that. We have a little application, the Holohub desktop client, which you can install. You download it from here. If you go to install Holohub, you can either install it from here directly for the desktop one, or you can install the mobile one if you want also. Once it's installed, you simply run it, log in, and then select what hub you want, same as before, and then you can see all the desktop content that we have available. So this is exactly the same as what we have here if we filter it. So obviously if we try to run the desktop content within the browser, we can't do that. There's no button to actually run the content here. So we need to actually launch the Holohub desktop client in order to access it. Once we've found the content we want, let's take mooring for example, we can then simply hit the install button. Once it's installed now we can run it. The other thing that's important to note is because this is just a desktop application, your administrators can install it across all your machines if they want to, so you can have it accessible through every PC as long as you have a VR headset attached to it. Now the other type of content is mobile VR, and I'll show you that experience in a minute from within the headset, but it's basically the same process as a Holohub client. The user logs in and then they can access their content and run it, install it and launch it. Also available to users on the left hand side of the screen is we have the support. Now these are the support articles, these are getting updated all the time. This is our knowledge base. You'll find FAQs and any sort of help to get you started. The other thing to note is that the support articles can be accessed at any time from this little button in the bottom right here. You can send us questions directly and we'll respond to you as quick as we can, or you can search for the knowledge base for articles that are of interest to you. There you go. So we'll close that. Now, if you're an administrator, then you have access to a little bit more features. So let's start with the hub settings. So the hub settings allows you to change your display name. The display name is what appears in the list when you log in. We can also just change the branding for the account. So we can change the banner image at the top. We can change the hub logo, the account logo. We can also update the welcome message text as well as the account theme. So this is exactly what your users see whenever they go onto the platform, whether it's through a browser or through the desktop client, as I showed you earlier. You can see that the banner image and the welcome message is always at the top there for them to see. So that's the quick hub settings. We can also look at the subscription tier in here. At the moment we're on a special one because this is a Digitalnauts account, but when you sign up you'll be on the free tier and you'll be able to access the free features. Now starting at the top here, we've got the dashboard. So it's just a basic admin dashboard panel, and there's a little bit of news and information about what's going on with the platform, but we also have some basic analytics here. If you're on the free version, then you'll only get to see the very basic analytics, so active users, number of applications, devices, etc. In Holohub, we're capturing mostly usage analytics, so what the users are doing with the platform, how they're engaging it, are they logging in through headsets, are they logging in through browsers, what content are they accessing, how long are they accessing it for. Through integrations, we also support XAPI for people who are looking to do training and want to pass that training data onto their learning record store or their learning management systems, and we have integrations for that also. But at the heart of Holohub is the applications. This is the content you're distributing. As I've already mentioned, we have 3 distribution formats. We can distribute to desktop, distribute to mobile VR, and distribute to WebXR through the browser, which is filtered here. Now you'll notice that each application's got a little green dot next to it. Some of them might be orange or some of them might be grey. Green means that it's published and it's available to all your users. Grey means that it's not been published because either there's not a release or it's been disabled in the back end. Orange means that there's a release waiting to be published in the future. For example, this one here, you can see that there's a release coming out tomorrow. So let's click on this one as an example. When you go in, it's the same as very similar to the Hub branding. We can adjust we can update the banner logo for the content. This is what you can see when you click on an application. So if you're construction ability, we can update the banner here. We can add some images as well. So we have a gallery here where we can add some example images to, and we can also update the system requirements, which can be seen for the end user, so that you know exactly if your computer is powerful enough to run it in the case of desktop. And mobile, it tells you what devices you actually support. So whether it's the Pico Neo 2, Neo 3, Oculus Quest, Meta Quest, etc. And we've also got the advanced options tab, which allows you to deactivate the content if you don't want anyone to access it for some reason, and also the ability to delete the content from the system entirely, and this will also remove access from the headsets. Now, as I said, this works on a release system. So if you want to release this piece of content and then you've got an update to it and you want to make a new version, then you can simply create a new release. And as soon as this release becomes available and it's published, it's past your publish date, your users will then be able to download it, or it will get downloaded and installed automatically if you're using the MDM tools. Now, releases are basically the actual binary content. So this is what comes out of your Unity when you build your Unity apps, or if you're using Unreal and you build an Unreal app, or if it's just web-based and it's just a folder with your compiled web site within it. It doesn't really matter. We are trying to be as content agnostic as possible, so we don't care where the application came from or how it was built. That's your choice, your control. These are your apps. So what we've done is we've built a little tool called the Holohub packaging tool. You can click here and download it. There's instructions on how to use it. It's very simple. You just open it, you tell it where your application files are, it asks you some questions, and then it builds a hub file. You then drop that hub file into here, and it'll upload. Now, if you don't have one, you can actually download one, but for the purposes, you can download a demo one here. There's a link here that will download a demo app for you. For the purposes of this demo here, I'm just going to upload a very small 10 megabyte example, and then we're going to give it a new version number. Let's just call this 2.0. Yeah, that'll be 2.0.02, whatever. We'll give it a title, whatever, new update, and explanation of what's changed. And let's just publish this. In fact, let's set this to publish on Wednesday. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll say that this will publish on Wednesday, hit publish, and you can see now that it's now in the release list to get published in the future. So we're still currently on version 1. Tomorrow this release will come out, and then next Wednesday we'll have this one, which will be generally available to my users. And that's generally how the distribution system works for your applications. It's really straightforward. Other things, users area. I'm not going to go into this. Everybody's seen what a user admin area looks like. It's your usual basic stuff. We invite a user. We provide them with a role which defines what access they have. Admins can obviously access the backend portal. Managers can access users, and users can only access the front end and download the applications. We can also see a bunch of pending users that we've invited if we sent out an invite and nobody's accepted it yet, and we can also revoke that invite if we choose to do so. Paid users also have the ability to do bulk invites for users too. And finally, we have the devices section of the platform. So the devices section is a new part that we've just added on. This is our mobile device manager. At the moment, we only support the Pico Neo 3 is best in class, but we've got support for other devices coming out very soon. The most important thing to note here is that the MDM tool is very easy to set up. So in order to register it with the platform, we have a headset plugged in. Once it's plugged in, we can download and install the MDM tool. It's also available on the knowledge base, and there's articles on how it works. Once the MDM tool is installed, we simply launch it. We can log in as before. Let's make sure I get my login right. Once we're logged in, we select the hub that we want to register the device to, and as you can see, I've already registered this one, so it says uninstall and manage. But if I hadn't registered this one on the platform, it would just say register. What that would then do is it would install Holohub onto the device, get the device's serial number, register it with the platform, and then once that's done, we can then click the manage button, and then we can access this device through the portal directly. Once we are in here, we can do things like rename the device to make it easy for us to identify it. So this is my headset, so let's just call it Mark's device. we can get a quick look at the status. Now I just want to make sure that you can see this and my face isn't blocking it, which it is. So I'm just going to move this over slightly. So you can see that we've got sort of the Wi-Fi signal status, we can see the battery status, storage, RAM at a glance. We also have more detailed information down here about the Wi-Fi, the SSIDs connected to IP addresses, etc. Useful stuff for debugging and maintaining any the devices. Operating system version number is very important to know if you have any issues. We also provide health updates, so if there's any issues with there's a memory leak and you're using all the RAM within your application, then this will be spotted and highlighted straight away in the MDM tool. If you've got any issues with your battery, like they're old or they're not charging properly, then you'll also get an update on the status of that. Now we also have some settings here where you can see the date that it was registered, who it was registered by, and the ability to unregister the device from the platform. But the main parts of the platform are the applications. But I'll come to that. I'll come back to that in a second. First, I'm just going to pause the video real quick while I cast the device up, the device to cast to the computer. And once that's happened, I'll show you what the experience is like from logging into Holohub for a user. 2 seconds. Okay, so I now have the device cast into the PC, so you should now see it below. There we go. So once we are in the device and Holohub's been installed, it's very simple to use. All you need to do is launch the application. So we can see here we've got an application called Holohub, and we're going to be presented with two options to log in. We can either log in via a PIN or we can log in via an email. Now, PIN's a lot easier because entering your username and password into VR is not the best experience in the world, as anybody who's tried VR will know. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to generate a PIN here, and that's what this button on the left is for. And this is a use once PIN, so I'm happy to share this in a video because you'll never be able to access it again after I've used it, and it only lasts 10 minutes as well. So 559951. 559951. Log in. Hopefully I got that right, I did. Now here we're going into our Digitalnauts account. Now, as you can see here, this is all the content that we showed you in the back-end platform. We can see all the different Android applications that are available for me to access. Now, some of them are already installed, so I can just play them directly by hitting the play button if I want to, but some of them are not. And it's very easy to get content installed on the device. So all you have to do is, let's find one that's quite small. So this one here. Yep, let's do this one. All you do is you click the download button, and what that's going to do is it's going to show you a little indicator saying that it's downloading. Once it's downloaded, it'll then install onto the device, and then you can run it through the platform, through the Holohub launcher. Now, that's great, and that's really useful for anybody who's on the free tier because it's much more of a pull process. You can go in, log in, download the content, and access it straight away. It doesn't cost anything to do this. But if you're on one of the paid tiers, then you have access to the device manager. And as I was showing you, from the device manager, we can actually install content remotely. So we can see here already that this content's being installed through the MDM. And we get this in real time back. So it says 82% there. Yep, that's right. Same in the headset, 85%. Now, once that's installed, I'll then be able to hit the launch button to actually launch it within the headset. But just to demonstrate that I can install content remotely as well, let's pick another piece of content. So let's do virtual meet space. It's only 20 megabytes. I'm going to hit install here, and again, we're going to get a message to say that it's installing up to in a progress bar. Once it's finished installing, it gets 100%, as it says, it disappears, and then the buttons come up to launch it. Now, I'm going to launch this Holohub example. This is one that I've installed earlier because it's a good one to demonstrate. So I'm going to hit the launch, and if you notice down on the video underneath, you'll see as soon as I click this, there you go, it starts to launch the content straight away within the headset. And I can come into the device here and we can see, yep, there we go, we are launched. There's little Digit dancing, he is very happy. So it all works. So that's two ways for you to get the content onto the device. We can either pull it by clicking and downloading it and installing it ourselves manually, or we can push it to the device through the MDM tool directly. So this is the quick tour of Holohub. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful, and I hope that you've got plenty of questions and that we still have time for questions at the end. Thank you very much. Yeah, good. We do have plenty of time for questions, which is great, and already we're getting quite a few questions in from people. So I'll answer some of them again at the end, just to make sure that everybody's got an answer to them, because there's some good questions coming up there. Lena, could I ask you to progress to the next slide, please? Thank you. So I just want to take a couple of minutes to really talk about the future of Holohub and where we're going next. So at the moment, we're really at step one in this product roadmap. The main focus of the features at this point in time was really about taking control of your assets, as I said, and managing them. So the users, the content, and the devices are the three main things. The next thing that we want to focus on after that is enhancing the admin a little bit further. So we're going to add user groups, which was one of the questions that came up, is how do we manage bulk users? At the moment, the management is to all devices. So if you want to install content on all of them, it'll send to them all. You can't select individual ones. So we're adding the ability to add user groups, device groups, and application groups, so you can customize them. And we're also adding role-based access controls and more advanced analytics and reporting, and a payment gateway, which isn't implemented at the moment. Following on from this, our main focus then is we've been building what we're calling Holohub apps. Now, Holohub apps are a bunch of apps that use the core service infrastructure behind Holohub to deliver added value within those applications. We've created a whole bunch of apps for our customers, and we're now going to create a more generalized app and make that available to all of our customers. So examples of this could be virtual meeting spaces to hold presentations, have one-to-one meetings with your staff, or even host webinars to show off content. The next phase on from that is to enhance our services that sit on the back end of the infrastructure that these applications actually use. And then we're going to make it available to all the developers to use on their own applications as well, because we realize that yes, there's 100 million applications out there now that are immersive, but they only really get you part of the way there to what most of our customers actually want. And what they want to do is take these applications that we've built and just add their own little adjustments to them. So we're going to make a bunch of templates that demonstrate the best practices and use cases for how you can integrate with these services. So we're going to have things like multiplayer management, room management, state management of the rooms, authentication, so you know who the user is within the application. You can bring in the branding from your hub, for example, and show it on a big banner on a construction site. There's Friends APIs that are getting put into it, and integrations for managing like XAPI and learning analytics. Now, we already do this with some of our customers at the moment. What we're wanting to do is make this available to everyone so that developers have control and do whatever they want to do. As we say, as our core values, as Lena mentioned, it's all about giving you control of your assets. We don't want to be opinionated in how you do things. We want you to adopt immersive as best as possible. And then much further down the line, we're potentially going to be launching a Holohub store, which is primarily going to be focused on our applications and making them available to everybody. But we'll also probably allow third parties to add their applications to it to sell to the Holohub client base as well. Now, just to finish off in this, I'm recently just come back from Korea. We were invited there as part of the UK's Best of Immersive Technologies to meet with the Korean government and discuss metaverse strategies. Now, metaverse comes up a lot recently. It's a dirty word to some people. Internally, we humming and hawing as to whether or not we use it. But the reality of metaverse is that it's not going away, whether you think it's marketing jargon or you look at it as a technology. The way that we look at it is it's a technology piece. We look at it as an infrastructure. So the metaverse is the next version of the internet, let's say, and you'll have virtual presence through your own digital avatars. You'll be able to use other newer modern technologies such as potentially blockchain to purchase things, etc. I'm not even going to mention NFTs, but this technology is coming. And Holohub at this point in time, it's particularly when we get to stage 4 and 5 when we're releasing the Holohub services. These are much similar to what people are already talking about as a metaverse. Now, I wouldn't describe Holohub as a metaverse, but it's the closest thing to it that I think is available at the moment. So if you are in a company and you're interested in adopting or embracing these metaverse technologies, Holohub's a really good starting point, because what it does is it lays down the foundations and infrastructure so that you can build and expand your immersive services beyond that. and they're all connected in one central location. And that's really, really important to us, because the metaverse really is all about interoperability and taking whatever you've built in one place and apply it to another place. So by providing you a central location for your digital assets, for example, you can upload 3D models, CAD assets, they'll get converted to a GLTF format, which can then be used in any of your applications. So think of it kind of like an immersive intranet, rather than the metaverse. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say to that. I won't go on too much about the metaverse. So yeah, back over to you, Lena. Thank you.
To be honest, I think that's us going towards kind of the end of the first part, which is mostly us talking, and then I guess it will be still us talking, but at least we'll be actually answering questions that you guys are interested in. So I just wanted to say a very, very big thank you for everyone coming today and for listening. You can now sign up at holohub.app for free. So there's two options. So one is basically the one that I mentioned, which is getting Holohub's core functionality, which is distribution and management up to, I think it's 9 users. We set it as a last one. That will be the free option. Alternatively, we're also offering free 30-day demos of the full functionality. So these are basically trials that you can jump on anytime. We don't need us for that. Now, if you don't have your own content, or you are maybe looking into a more hands-on run-through, or you just want to see exactly where is the benefit for your organization in particular, then you can always contact either myself or Mark, and we can arrange either like a one-on-one call or even like another private demo, just whatever really suits you. But I think that's everything from us. And then we would like to move now on to the Q&A session.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of questions. I've already done my best to answer some in the text, but if you haven't answered, if you haven't had a chance to read the chat history, I'll just read some of them out to you and some of the responses that I gave. So Anthony, I was asking, can we access the app stores and integrate, basically download straight from the app stores? Unfortunately, this isn't something that we can do. For example, if you want to download from the Oculus store, Oculus would not let you do this. Now, if there are other companies out there who are managing their own app store and have integrations for it, then yes, we can build an integration that will allow you to access their content directly through their store and then pull it into Holohub. But at this point in time, no, nobody lets you do that. But as I said, we're looking to partner with companies and make the future of immersive as interoperable as possible, and we need to start creating initiatives like this where things are open. So I would encourage anybody who is in this sort of space to do something similar. We have another question here. Somebody was asking, is there any limitations on the number of devices that you can register for the device manager? No, there is not. And the main reason for this is because our pricing model isn't related to devices. Our pricing model is around the number of users which you have on the system. Because ultimately, we have 3 distribution channels, as I said. There's the web, desktop applications, and Android applications. And so users can access the content from any device, and we don't want to limit the number of devices that people can access things from. Any more? Okay, we have another question here from Metro coming in.
Yeah, so Mitchell is asking, how do you handle multiple versions of the same app on headset? For example, same app, but from different hubs you have access to?
Yeah, great question.
So we already have that, because I think a lot of the hubs are basically, we have multiple apps across the hubs, and I think you can have that, and it doesn't interfere with basically the way it functions. So if you want to have 2 hubs, let's say one is from your main, let's say, company or your division in the company, and then another one is a general, maybe your whole organization, you can have them on both, and they can just run separately.
Yeah, and I think just to expand on that, I think what you're really getting to, Mitchell, is if you have content installed on that device and that content's available to both, or if the content should only be available to one, can the person with the other hub access that content? The answer is no. It will only be accessible through your hub account. That's the only way to do it. Oh, and we've got some questions on the Q&A as well. I think we've got plenty of time for questions, so we can keep going.
Yeah.
Let me just open up the Q&A. Give me 2 seconds. So I had another question. Oh, great question, Nick. So most of the devices on the demo were Pico. Can you not support the Meta Quest or other headsets? So that's a really good question. The answer is yes and no. So we have limited support for consumer devices like the Oculus Quest. The reason being is that it is a consumer device and it's much more locked down. It's not designed for business purposes. So we are currently working on creating a more streamlined process for the Oculus Quest. We understand that a lot of people use them and they want to make use of them. So we're doing our best to make it as easy as possible, but it is still a bit of a painful process. And this isn't just us that has this problem. This is a problem that everyone faces when they're using the Oculus. We're also working on clients for other mobile devices, which will be coming out very shortly. Some of them include the HTC Focus and the HTC Flow as well, which are 2 new ones coming out. Other headsets to pay some attention to are the Lynx XR1 as well, which is a French-based company, which will be coming out hopefully the end of this year or early next year. Oh, wow. Right. Okay. We have quite a few questions. So Ross is asking, what LMSs have we integrated with and how does this work? Okay, that's a really good question also. So at the moment, we are building integrations directly to Cornerstone so that you can launch the content from a Cornerstone adapter. So basically, our content will appear in Cornerstone, you can hit it and it'll proxy it onto Holohub and allow you to launch it through there. If it was in a headset, for example. But the most common one that people use at the moment for learning integration is actually through the Learning Record Store. And that's just a very simple integration where you just basically you input your LRS details. Every LRS has got an endpoint, a username and a password. You create one specifically for Holohub. You enter it into the admin backend system. Any data that's captured in your content gets passed on to Holohub. We we enrich that data by providing the user's email address and the identity of that user, and then it gets forwarded up to your LRS record store so that you know who it is and you can see it. What else do we have? What integration have you done? Plan CAD tool. So Graham's asking, what integrations have you done? Plan to do with CAD tools and authoring tools that are not Unity and Unreal. So we don't actually have any direct integrations with any sort of Unreal or Unity CAD specific solutions. I'm guessing you're probably talking about things like Unity Reflect. We don't integrate with that directly. What we have done is we've built a content management system service, which isn't available yet. It will be publicly available soon, but we're using it for very specific applications, and it will allow you to basically upload any asset model, and then it will use an online cloud conversion tool, which will convert it to a GLTF format. So it will accept any CAD asset that you want. And you'll be able to provide it with some meaningful variables to say sort of how high quality do you want it and how much, what's your target file size, for example. It'll go away, convert it to a GLTF format, which will then get stored on the system. Then through the SDKs, you can then download and access those CAD models to bring them into either a collaborative environment or whatever you want to do with them in your application. And I've got one more question. Again, it's another one from Graham. So this is, when data is uploaded to Holohub, where is it stored? Could be restrictions on some of the digital assets. Can the cloud service be our own? Yes, absolutely, 100%. So at the moment, we provide you with it's on Azure Cloud. So we create a new Azure storage instance for your hub. If you don't want to do that and you want to plug in either your own Azure instance that you have already available, or you want to do it on-prem, then you can do that through our enterprise tier. That's how that would work. I think that's all the Q&A questions, unless anybody's got any more.
I saw there is one more in the chat. So Marco is asking, is it unique that Holohub can distribute and manage WebXR, but also Unity and Unreal apps? Yeah. So most platforms that exist that are for specifically distribution and management, there are a few of them, but they only do basically distribution and management. They usually concentrate on Unity and Unreal apps. We were basically going the same way. But because we work with so many different companies and we recognize the need that they actually want one place to put all of their different content and assets, um, I need to give a big shout out to our commercial director, Marco, for this one, because he really opened our eyes to the fact that it doesn't need to be the pure VR, as in very immersive and interactive, because these companies they basically perceive WebXR as the same thing. So we just wanted to make sure that it's accessible, it's one place, and they can access everything from there. And also that anything that they've created on another application, let's say scenarios VR or whatever, they can basically bring that into a VR headset and not just run it on desktop. So it works obviously desktop and VR. But yeah, I would say it is a unique feature.
Yeah, just to add to that again, we want you to have control of your XR initiatives, whatever that is. If you want to be producing sort of the lightweight web XR experiences because they're more accessible, then you should be allowed to do that. You shouldn't be restricted on that. And the same goes for if you want to use Unreal or Unity or anything else. If you want to create native applications, if you're into that, then that should be your choice. You should have the freedom to distribute and manage whatever type of content you want. So for us, having 3 different channels was really important. We will be expanding on this as well in the future. Potentially adding remote rendering, so cloud XR solutions as well as another release channel, so that people can, again, giving you the option to access higher end quality VR experiences through either the web or a mobile headset. I think, unless anybody's got any more questions. Oh, no, we've got still more coming.
It's one from Jamie.
Jamie, yeah. So are you tied into Holohub? And if for whatever reason you wanted to move away from it. So no, this is really important to us as well. Again, about having no walled garden. Because we are not an authoring tool and we are not opinionated on how you develop your content, then you can basically take the content out of Holohub if you want and upload it somewhere else if you like to. The main thing that would tie you to Holohub is when we go to release the SDK, which we have, as I said, we're doing it with some clients in beta at the moment. We're developing applications for them that use the SDK and integrate with the Holohub services. Now, that doesn't mean that the application won't run outside of Holohub. If you want it to, there's an option. You can make it so that it will only run within Holohub and be launched within Holohub, or you have the option of just using the Holohub services for the sort of multiplayer management, session management, real-time chat, etc. So it's up to you. You can pick and choose which of the services you want to integrate with. But yeah, essentially, once you're using that service, you're sort of tied to it. But you can swap it in and out. The main purpose of us to build the SDK is to make it as lightweight as possible and not obtrusive on how you develop your content. And one more question there from Metro is there SSO support? So at the moment, we do not have SSO support generally available. We are working on it. It's only really needed for mostly the larger enterprise clients. So we can do it with Azure Active Directory at the moment, but we are looking at expanding the single sign-on support as well. If that's something you're interested in, we'd love to hear what requirements you have for SSO as we're developing that at the moment. And Graham Booth has one more question. Any data size limitations? Yeah, so we have storage limits at the moment. This is mostly just to protect us from abuse. I think in the free tier, I think off the top of my head, I think it might be 10 gigabytes. And then I think it's 200 gigabytes for the standard business tier. And then enterprise is obviously is unlimited. But in terms of the size of the applications that you can distribute, no, there's no restrictions. One of the reasons that we actually have the Holohub build tool that I quickly spoke about during the demo was because when we started Holohub, it was some time ago now, it was 4 years ago, and we were mostly working with desktop applications, and these were really large applications. These were gigs in size and really long and really high production stuff. So we created the bundling tool so that we could easily package and manage all those large assets, and then it would upload them to the server without any issue. Time's moved on. Now people are building a lot of web content and a lot of mobile content. These are much smaller in size. These tend to be anywhere between sort of 50 to 500 megabytes in size. So we're enabling it so that you can upload them directly to the platform without having to use a Holohub packaging tool. And that's really there as an offline tool for large assets before you then go and upload them. And it just basically means that some of that processing gets done on your computer rather than doing it on the server. I think. No, maybe? Any more? 5 minutes to go. I think that's us, Lena. I think we're good.
Yeah, I was just thinking that we would probably need to just share the landing page that's with the different tiers, because quite a few people are asking around pricing and what are the different options and limitations. So let me just check quickly.
There you go. Holohub.app. Have a look there. You'll see our pricing list and feature table at the moment. The one thing I will say is things are moving quickly for us now, although we've been sort of in stealth modes and working in beta with our customers and really trying to understand their needs. Now that we're launching it commercially, we are going to be moving quick. Things are going to be changing rapidly, and we'd love to hear your feedback and your input and any sort of features that you think that you would be interested in going forwards, or anything that's really important to you, so that we can prioritize development, because there's a lot to do, and we would love to hear your input on that.
That's perfect. Well, I think that's us done now. Thank you again, everyone. We will be sending the video recording just in case as well. But yeah, just have a lovely day, and thank you so much for coming.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.